Construction is at record levels. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. Let's have a look at some recent data that's just come out from AI Group. This is their Performance of Construction Index, and it's hit a record high, and I can't say any of us are at all surprised, considering, well, just how the government is juicing up the construction sector. Now, if you're in it, you're in the game, you're taking advantage, you happen to be doing a lot of housing work, make hay while the sun shines, guys. I wouldn't be rushing out and getting that jet ski. So, the Australian PCI hits a record high in March 2021. The Australian Industry Group and HIA Performance of Construction Index rose by 4.4% to 61.8 points in March 2021, seasonally adjusted. This was the strongest monthly result in the history of this data series since 2005. There you go, everyone. This is just, it's the HomeBuilder and a big part of it, particularly for HIA. So you know what lobby groups want. Well, housing, we all know now, is just the piñata that the politicians like to hit to get economic activity. Results above 50 points indicate expansion in the month, with high results indicating a stronger pace of expansion. So, I mean, there you go. That's the biggest since 2005, since before the GFC, they had this, everyone. All four components of activity in the Australian PCI expanded strongly in March 2021, resulting well above 50 points seasonally adjusted, even though the activity index moderated by 3.7 points to 57.7. The indexes for new orders, employment and supply deliveries all hit record highs as house builders nationwide scrambled to commence residential projects as soon as possible in order to meet their final home builder deadline. Capacity utilization surged up to 81.3% in March, towards its recent high in December. Residential builders continue to report high levels of customer inquiries, orders, and requests to commence as soon as possible through March. Conditions were positive, but slower in apartment buildings, commercial buildings, and engineering construction. Concerns about supply chain delays and high pricing for imported inputs and high freight costs are apparent across all four segments of construction in 2021. Supply constraints plus strong customer demand saw both the input and selling price indices in the Australian PCI hit record highs in March, highest since the two data series commenced in 2005 and 8 respectively. The average wages index surged to its highest monthly result since 2008. So it's now the time to be in construction. And I mean, you can see it here. Look at that percent change. Look at that. From down there, shooting all the way up there, everyone. There's the GFC. Look at that crash. Even the recovery from the GFC, it's nothing on this. Look at it. Look at that curve. So, oh, there it is in bigger detail. Look at that, guys. Percent change. It's expanding over 10%. Over 60. We've never been that high. So, of course, this is to the government to the rescue, everyone. Government intervention is stimulating the market. That is what we're seeing here. Don't kid yourself. And there's going to be a price to pay. And here, the juicing the market, the cash rates, 0.1%. It's 3% used to be considered an emergency. HomeBuilder, I've got some updated HomeBuilder figures from the 13th of March, guys. It has just gone crazy. First home buyer grants up to 88 grand. 5% government loan guarantees, so people can jump in and build these things. You've got longer term is negative gearing, but super definitely has juiced up the market. And look at these building approvals. I want to see what comes out with building approvals at the end of March. So here we have the latest from the 12th of March, home builder applicants. You've got over 20,500 in Queensland, everyone. Northern Territory, 345, not that many. New South Wales has 16,659, 9,724 in SA, 14,257 in WA. And what I'm going to have a look here. Oops. Nope, we don't want to look at that. Can I click on that? No, I can't. Okay, well, in Tasmania, it's about 2.5. Victoria is taking the lead at 26,000, everyone. 26,000. So that's showing you the government intervention and how construction is just juicing up. Let's look at some of the components of this PCI. So, construction sectors. Construction activity in housing and engineering construction was especially strong in March, but activity slowed in apartments and commercial construction in seasonally adjusted terms. Activity across all four segments of construction remains strongly expansionary in trend terms due to unusually high levels of activity reported over the summer. Construction prices. Both the input and selling price indices of the Australian PCI hit record highs in March 2021, the highest since the two series began. This reflects a combined supply delays and constraints, rising prices for imports and freights, as well as strong customer demand in the residential sector. So if we're seeing prices rise, could one argue that might achieve the inflationary goals that the RBA are pushing for? We've seen freight costs just rocket, everyone, just insanely high, some of these freights. I've had viewers who import products just saying, getting letters from their suppliers overseas going, freight's going to increase significantly by this period, this period, this period. It's going to manifest, guys, in housing. Construction wages and employments. The employment index in the PCI hit a record high in March. I think we're going to read that a lot. Residential builders said they've increased work hours and staff numbers, but the short-term nature of the current surge means some seem wary of long-term commitments. Wage index surged to its highest monthly result since 2008. So we are seeing some increased hours, increased activity, but people are a bit worried about taking on people for the longer term. I'm not surprised at that at all, guys. I mean, let us know if you're in the game. We've got a lot of builders, tradies watching the channel. Are you taking on people for full time, or are you just taking on contractors so you can, not lock yourself in? I mean, there are those job maker schemes to try and get people jumping in to take on younger people. Maybe that's happening here. So, construction activity, it fell 3.7 points to 57.7 in March from a record high of 61.4 in February. Activity contracted in the apartment and commercial building sector, but remains strong in house building and engineering. So engineering would be a lot of infrastructure projects. So it's where the government is juicing the sector, everyone. Houses, infrastructure, but apartments and commercial is, not doing as well. Construction new orders. Looking ahead, the new orders index hit a record high in March again. House builders nationwide scrambled to commence contracts as soon as possible to meet the final HomeBuilder deadline of the 31st of March 2021. New orders were also up strongly in commercial building and engineering construction, but flat for apartments. New orders for houses were expected to ease from April with the end of the HomeBuilder scheme. Construction supply deliveries. The supply deliveries index hit a record high in March. We're seeing that again as builders race to meet demand. There may be an element of catch-up as deliveries delayed by state border closures in 2020 start to arrive. And capacity utilization surged to its recent high at 81.3%. It had a record high in December. So highlights. Residential builders continue to report high levels of customer inquiries, as we've said. What else here? Yep. Construction concerns. Builders across all sectors continue to report concerns about supply delays and high pricing for imported components and materials, plus freight costs. House builders are wary of a demand slump after HomeBuilder, but are hopeful that other factors, low interest rate, household confidence, and savings will help to support demand. So they're worried about the end of this government injection into it, but they're hoping the other stuff will keep it going. So you can see here, the 12-month average of the PCI was 45.9, so it's been contracting. We haven't been good. And look at this, 61.8. There you have it. So these are the components. HomeBuilder, I mean, we've seen here, everything is shooting up. And I will link to the report if you want to go through it yourself from AI Group. I mean, input prices, which pretty much is import prices in Australia, and selling prices. Look at that. Average wages up, employment up, activity up, new orders up, supply delivery up, capacity utilization. Look at that high. So these solutions, everyone In construction, you may be happy, it's going well, you've got all these projects, the pipeline's looking good, probably the best it has in some time. But you've got to remember, it's not free, particularly if it's fed by all this government money. Not all the money that's being spent in construction is from the government. Honestly, they're probably going to get most of it back in GST because of, for every 15 grand or 20 grand, 15 grand at least, they're getting 150,000 minimum spend from the personal consumer. That's all they care about. They care about activity. They care about getting people working. There'll be people calling for social housing, but you're not going to get the same impact. Okay? You're not. For every 15 grand you spend on social housing, how much money do you think you're going to get from the private sector? Nothing. You're just going to get 15 grand worth of activity. So we've got to ensure that people are aware that this is a burden that future generations are going to bear. Just remember, there's a reason why we can't have the government doing this. Anyway, guys, there you have it. Thank you all for watching. Please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Are you in the construction sector at the moment? How's it going? Are you flat out? If you're a fan of the channel and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. Take care, guys. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.